Oh, hello. Me. Hi. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm BoredGamer. I'm going to burp. 1 second. There you go. I did warn you. That was my burp spoiler. Apologies. I hope you're all doing well. We're in the midst of the IAE, the 2953 Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. Today is a different day in the IAE. What day is it today? Let's see if I can actually remember. I can't remember. I'm going to have to actually look at the schedule. It's Origin Day later on today. In an hour's time, Origin Day begins. And I'll be jumping off to make a video. So, yeah. We had some quite cool stuff in the IAE so far. I'm sort of looking forward to potentially more. I say potentially more. We know for a fact there's going to be a new RSI miner on sale. And it's not a leak. It's because it's written here. RSI continues to innovate with a new deep space miner. And we know the name and stuff of that deep space miner from leaks. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about what other people wanted to talk about. If you've got something you want to chat about, then please chuck question in brackets in the chat and ask a question. Obviously, we've got 3.21.1 now live, which sort of has the ship scale tracked beams, which are almost taken backseat because the IAE is running. And Cloud Imperium are powering through with sort of sales. We saw the Idris and Javelins that went on sale on Aegis Day, sell out almost instantly again. We can always expect that. If Cloud Imperium ever need to print money, they can just sell some capital ships, it seems. I believe that RSI miner is going to be a concept rather than a release. Not 100% on that, but an 80% probability. Probably a bit more. So Cloud Imperium said, setting expectations about Jax. They said no Jax this year because a lot of the cinematic team and cinematics people were working on Squadron 42 and other important things. They will probably have Jax back again next year, I believe. So I think it's a low likelihood that Jax will show up in an unannounced ship or whatever. But it's possible. I mean, they might just go, lol, trolled. It's always, all that sort of stuff is always possible, right? So all about that in mind. But yeah, that new RSI mining ship, it might be something I want to add. I mean, I have an Orion. I have salvage ships. I have mining ships. I'm not a massive fan of the mole. It's because I'd rather have multiple prospectors. But a mining ship that probably has its own refinery, that sounds good. That sounds good to me. Do you know when the Ship Showdown paints get sent out? Yes, if you have the ship in your hangar, so if you've bought the ship with the real money or been gifted on the 30th, I believe, that's when you will get they'll then be allocating the paints straight away after that. I think it's on the 30th, they work out allocation, and on the 30th, there is the allocation. Do you think there are going to be any more ships released in the remaining days of the IAE? So there are other possibilities. There's leaks about a potential heavy fighter. There's obviously the RSI mining ship, which we know will go on at least concept. It's going to be concept, almost certainly. It's possible. Possible it's not. Possible it's ready. What else could we have from any of the other manufacturers? I think that's obviously we've got have the Argo SRV on Argo Day on the 22nd. I think that's probably what we're going to get until sort of Luminalia and Alpha 3.22. Because 3.22 has at the very least the Santokyo and the X1 series. That's the plans. But probably more stuff there. No news on the Odyssey. No news on the Odyssey. Expect it to be a while. I know people are excited about the Odyssey, but it's going to be a while. They'll probably want to have more exploration type mechanics in game before they start putting the Odyssey in my opinion. So on the Best in Show Day. So towards the end of the IAE, they've got Best in Show on the 26th. And then they've got the grand finale all the way until the 30th. You'll be able to test any ship you want from kiosks that will be at the IAE hall. You're just able to go to, bam, rent whatever ship you want. And there'll be some cool stuff to see and some cool scenics and probably the best in show ships there as well. So that's the ships that won the top 4 in the ship showdown, along with their skins. Hello, sorry to bother you. I want to offer promotion for... Oh, no. Get out of here. Get out of here, you filthy bot. How can you send me messages when your account is suspended already? What is that? Was it suspended after you sent a message? There were 8 unannounced ships that finished work on the progress tracker before the IAE, and we already saw 2. And we could see some variants of stuff as well, I suppose. We'll sort of have to wait and see, right? There could be some more stuff. But nothing I've heard about. So there was rumours and talks about a new Drake mega freighter, but that at the moment is just rumours. I actually poked someone at CIG, and they went, they basically said, we talk about lots of different ships and potentials for lots of different ships like that all the time. So it didn't sound like there was anything more than an idea that had been floated about. But it's possible. Think about getting a 600i. Do you think it's worth it? I'll be using store credit. It's going to change quite a lot pretty soon. It will be. They are updating it so that it's better, I would say. So maybe now's a good time to get it. I suspect it will go up in price at least a little bit when they update it. But it's up to you. It's like, you're risking the change and you liking the changes. Details in how much we love the finale to the Lost Generation story. Yes, I will. Sketch Therapy. I made her look at all the comments there. I said if she needed a morale boost, have a look here because there's a lot of love for that series. We'll also be putting up the fully compiled version of it. So all the pieces as a single thing. Travel the map. Oh, thank you so much. Genuinely appreciated, sir. How do you think armor will evolve in the future, considering different damage types, stealth, carrying capacity? Will we have a million types of armor and some never won? Yes. However, there's going to be tiered armor based on how well you are doing with particular factions. You'll be able to buy effectively what will be better armor from them that has sort of better stats, even if it's only a small amount. But there is effectively high tier armor. If you're talking about armor on ships as well, and I think armor on players, there's going to be a level of physicality to it. What you hit is what you hit. There are materials involved. So that's going to affect what's protected, how it's protected. And there's going to be different types of armor. Some's going to be much more tech reliant, but then is vulnerable to certain types of damage and EMPs and things, whereas others is going to be very sort of scrappy, but might be absolutely fantastic against some ballistics and sort of hand-to-hand combat and that sort of stuff. So armor's going to evolve for sure and be very different types of armor for different roles. Mixture of mitigation, but also there's going to be specialization in armor. So you'll be able to have armor that's better at support roles, whether it's got more pouches and utility stuff, whether it supports more types of items on it, or even potentially even gives you bonuses to using some items because it has more power for them or whatever. That's a possibility is what I'm saying. So maybe there are medical tools and it goes, well, actually, it makes your medical tool a little bit better because it gives it a bit more power or something like that. It's magnetically charged, or it can connect to your multi-tool and do something. You could have that for salvage armor. You could have that for lots of different stuff. So expect them to have armor and armor sets for all these different roles, and for just pure combat, and for general universal armor as well. That's all right at everything. But they are planning on tiers, effectively, of armor, not just the way it looks, but I believe also the way it performs, by like getting really friendly with factions and doing lots of stuff for them. Will there be any more freelancer variants? I've not heard of any. But it's certainly possible that they'll expand out the ranges of ships like that, especially when they update them. Because they're planning on light updates for all of these ships as they sort of get them ready for physicalized components and the resource management system. Do you foresee Pyro coming to the OpenPU? I mean, it will at some point. There are going to be more Pyro playtests on the preview / PU build, PTU build. So sort of bear that in mind, and that's going to be before the end of the year. They're also, I believe, planning to still test the replication layer before the end of the year as well. Whether or not that will be also as part of the Pyro playtest or not, don't know. But the Pyro playtest is going to be going out to more people by the end of this wave. I just can't help the fact that my voice is an 11 of attractiveness out of 10. So just the way I was born, unfortunately. C1 was difficult to land in small hangars. Do you think we will just have to wait for personnel hangars to get larger ones? They might upgrade the size of the hangar effectively that they land in, so that they're a size up, as it were, or change. Unlikely they'll change the metrics of the hangars now. But yeah, it is quite big for small medium ship, right? Because it's technically a medium ship. It is starting to push the boundary there. Do you think we could see another tech preview soon after the IAE? Yes, I also think they're going to be testing both Xenothreat and Siege of Orison pretty soon, sort of around throughout Christmas and January. Do you think there will be a heavy update for the Freelancer, so it's more on par with other ships of its type? It's definitely going to see some level of update, whether it's very small or a bit more remains to be seen. All the ships are going to get a huge balance pass and items pass, which will be able to solve a lot of issues as well in the future, and probably multiple passes. Predictions for Warbond CCU today. 400i? 400i for the Warbond, maybe? Classic bone. 600 I rework. I'm hoping that they give us a update of it later later this week. Just like bam, here's some ship development updates, right? Useful during the IAE. What's happening with my ship's headdress? So what's happening is that there's a green screen behind me, and it's sort of refracting the light and confusing the headdress. That RSI mining ship, so I'm thinking that it's going to be Corvette sized. Between 450 and 600, sort of that range of price. It's going to be moderately expensive, right? Yeah, a lot of people like that Liberator, right? My wallet is very much in danger if an Anvil gunship appears. Yes. What is the competitor to the Constellation Andromeda? So you've got things like the 400i, you've got the Mercury Star Runner, technically got the Retaliator. It depends what you sort of want it for as well. There's lots of similar-ish size classes, but they're either specialist or a bit bigger or a bit smaller. Some people would argue that the Corsair is also... Do you feel that we need a medium-sized salvager, Connie-sized, and be able to hold a reasonable amount of cargo and salvage? Yes, 100%. I want to see something in between the size of a Prospector and a Reclaimer. Sort of like the Mole is to the Prospector, right? I think almost certainly will as well at some point. Do you have any news on the Origin bike and car. So the Origin car, not so much. G12 and whatever, don't know when that's happening. The Origin bike is planned for, the whole series is planned for Alpha 3.22 at some point in the cycle, at the very least. So by the end of the year, hopefully. What with the likelihood of me getting a Kraken? Not sure when I should be in the F5 war. So it will be on Drake Day, which is on the 21st at 4 p.m. UTC, midnight UTC, and 8 a.m. UTC are going to be the waves for that. It's not going to, or it's unlikely to sell out as quickly as the Javelins and Idris did. So, and work out whether you're going to be buying it with store credit or real money. I say with real money. Obviously, store credit was at one point real money. Do you feel we need... That's literally what I just talked about. Blah, 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 blah. We need a smaller / med-sized or medium-sized ship that is a dedicated transport vehicle that has one drop to carry larger ground vehicles in a smaller package. So, okay. You've obviously got the A2s. A2s? The Hercules. The A2... M2 and C2. C2 being obviously more specialised at carrying more vehicles. If you're talking at a smaller scale, you have a reasonable amount of ships that specialise in... they have a cargo bay which can fit ships, right? Like the Valkyrie. I know you're saying that you want basically a smaller version of the C2, right? Small version of C2 to carry maybe a single tank or whatever, or even something like that. Now, interestingly, there is a sort of a variant of a cargo Argo, or a variant of those. Can't remember what they're called. Not SRVs, but the cargo Argo and all that sort of stuff. It looks like there is one that might be for picking up larger containers and potentially picking up ground vehicles. That is a potential. Will the X1's price increase by $5 upon release? It should be going up in price at least a small amount. Would you melt a Carrack and an M2 for credits for an 890 jump if you want that 890 jumper load? Remember, it's going to be on limited hull, but they typically don't sell out immediately either because they're very expensive. It's up to you. I would prefer the Carrack over the 890 jump even. I love my 890 jump, but I also have a Carrack that I like more. MPUV, that's the ones. With the new Tumble Storms and other land vehicles still in development, are there are rumours of missions that would involve ground-specific attacks in the future? That's what I believe. I believe there are ground-based missions, lots of different ones. Even with the settlement editions in Alpha 3.22, we might see more planet-bound missions, or missions that you can do literally from point of interest to point of interest, potentially without a ship even. Do you think they'll ever get the C2 a tractor beam? I hope so. I like the idea of the C2 having a tractor beam, right? Obviously, the C1's got a tractor beam. Any updates on the Tumbrel bike, the Ranger? No new updates on that bike at the moment. Based on what we know about the RSI Minor, what area you think it'll be priced at? Between 450 and 600 is what I'm thinking. I think it's going to be sort of Corvette sized. It's supposed to be for deep space mining, so that makes it sound like it is going to be relatively independent, have its own sort of refinery, stuff like that, and be suitable for staying out in the verse for a long period of time. Do you think the new RSI miner will be given us a loan until the Orion comes? Yes, but I'm not sure if the RSI miner is going to be straight to flyable. I think it's more likely to be concept, and they might say, oh, it's going to be in your hands in the not too distant future. Do you think we'll ever get the military multi-tool in the Persistent Universe? I think it will be a piece of equipment that we can get, yeah. People wonder how Jared will be immortalized in Star Citizen. I think he will be an NPC captain of Genesis Starliner, perhaps. Yeah, I think that's probably quite a good shout. It is his actual favourite ship, the Starliner. Any new news on Greycat vehicles and stuff? Not that I've heard. Wait to Greycat Day, though, there might be something that turns up. And also, there's inside Star Citizen later this week that might have some ship development and vehicle development updates. Do you think they will ever slow down new feature development to focus on fixing stability and current game issues altogether? New stuff is cool, but give me a more playable game. So, I suspect after they release Squadron 42, they will look at Star Citizen and go, let's have a good polish pass of what we've got now to make the game a bit more mainstream, and then sort of move towards beta, right? So they're not going to have these huge... They might have some big polish passes in the meantime, but they're not going to have like a final one for a long time. And they might like have this big one for beta, and then once they're in beta, they're going to be more conscious of keeping the game in a balanced, less alpha-y state, right? Do you think it's cheaper to get the company complete packs that has lifetime insurance or each ship individually? Don't know. There is a bit of a CCU game going on with a lot of this stuff. I'd say buy a better computer before you buy giant packs. I know that wasn't your question. Apologies. Yeah, that new RSI miner, I'm not sure if it's going to be straight to flyable or concept. I'm leaning significantly more towards it going to be a concept, even if it's going to be in-game within the next 6 months or something. Do you think items like various scopes, sniper rifles will come back to the shops, or likely to stay loot items only? They'll be in the shops eventually, for sure. I appreciate all the kind words. Thank you so much. Do you know when we're getting the E1? Some point next year, I believe. Not a planned ship for this year. They were working on taxiing gameplay previously, and they sort of reprioritized stuff, so it's possible they'll have bounty hunting and taxiing next year. Will you have more lore storylines for Zin to narrate? I let her go free reign on what she wants to do for lore. Sometimes I might say, oh, it'd be cool to have this, whatever. She's looking at some bits and bobs at the moment. There will be more stories in the future. I will potentially get her on to fan stories as well. If I could. Thinking of grabbing a Galaxy by upgrading my Zeus package. How great it's waiting. If it's made available again, is it worth it for a crew of 2 to 3 who consistently alongside to be consistent alongside a mining ship or 2? So if you're going for the refinery Galaxy, then yes. Going for the industry specific one, then yes, probably. It probably worked pretty well with that. We won't know a lot of this stuff until it's in our hands, right? Any chance of seeing you and Zin on Captain's Table? I would love to hear 3 talk lore. Potentially. I sort of... I've been on the Captain's Table obviously a lot in the past. I've been relatively reclusive from most other content creators for the last like 18 months. But I will poke some people again in the future. So maybe. Do you think the Anvil Hawk will get an update in the near future? So they showed that it was getting an update for the new bounty hunting stuff. You put like bounty hunting pods in rather than individual people. My bad. They're individual people in a pod. So yeah, it looks like they are updating it at the moment. Do you think the Polaris will go up in price this week? Oh, so they didn't give us. They didn't say the Polaris is going up in price this week, so probably not. 400 IR on Mercury Star Runner. Mercury Star Runner is my favorite ship. I love it. And in the future, you're going to have data running with it as well. It's cool even now, but also we'll get extra functions in the future. And when do you think we'll see inventory upgrades so that we can stack items and sell stacks at shops? I have some much stuff that I need deleted. Okay. So Alpha 3.22 is supposed to have inventory cargo containers, which basically acts as backpacks that you can store in your cargo grid. I suspect that will allow it then. Unlikely this use will be available. Expect this use at some point next year. We're probably at least 9 months away from this use. I appreciate all the kind words. Thank you so much. Do you think the Polaris is still $750? The Polaris... let me just double check to make sure the Polaris wasn't going up in price. I think it's around that, right? Yeah, I think it's still planned to be $750, I believe. It's pretty expansive. Any rumours of a ship pass through the Reclaimer or Caterpillar? They will both be getting one. All the ships will be getting lots of little passes at the very least, right? Because they're being updated with the old legacy systems being moved out, being made ready for engineering and resource management gameplay, physicalized components, all that sort of jazz. But also there will be tweaking these ships and making them look a bit better. What is your best choice for Medium Explorer? Oh, Corsair. For Medium Explorer, Corsair. We're moving up from that, then Carrack. I absolutely love the Corsair for sort of value. Common question, I guess, but C1 versus CL, the Zeus CL, versus the Freelancer Max. For me, I like the look of the C1 the most. I think a lot of people will say the CL for the Zeus, though, is best on paper. Any other leaks about other new unannounced ships that are supposed to be coming during the IAE? So there's rumours about a new heavy fighter. There's obviously the RSI mining ship. And then we know the SRV is going to be turning up because it's in the current patch. But other than that, there could be some more stuff, but we're unsure. Well, I'm unsure. Polaris or Carrack? I'm looking at getting a Carrack on Anvil Day, but some people say get the Polaris instead. The Carrack seems better to me with the cargo space and modularity. So, do you want a combat-orientated ship, or do you want an exploration-orientated ship? I mean, both are going to be great for multi-role and mission running. I would prefer the Carrack there, myself. But if you're going more combat-y, then the Polaris is almost certainly going to be better. With the new alien starter ship, the Sulen, and the design of it, what are the thoughts on the Raylan? Size increase and looks. So obviously the Raylan's going to be larger. It's basically a medium cargo ship, and the Sulen is a sort of small starter ship. Sulen's cool. It's not for me though. I don't like landing and taking off and pointing upwards. But it is a cool addition, and I'm liking the fact they're fleshing out some more of these alien ships. And so it's effectively suitable for aliens and Xi'an, that one, which is great, because it can have Xi'an in it. More Explorer ships announced over the next year, with Pyro coming up. Yeah, quite possible. Very possible. Or modules for other ships to make them more explory. Any news on personal weapons and armor? So we know that there's loads of Squadron 42 updates coming into them. And I'm expecting to see some updates, some new stuff there for 3.22. But it's hard to work out exactly what's going to be ready. Obviously, a ton of stuff during the Pyro playtest. You'll see loads and loads and loads of things. So sort of stay tuned for that. as it were. Get involved with the next Pyro playground. Any thoughts on potential variants for the Sulen? I don't think it will see variants. Because it's supposed to be multi-role. It's supposed to be starter. Say multi-role, it's supposed to be starter. Also, the Endeavour. Love the Endeavour. Think it's going to be ages before we get it in game. It's an awesome modular science / specific role ship, because you can use it for science exploration, medical, right? Loads of cool stuff. But it's going to be a while before they flesh out those mechanics properly, and we see that ship in game. But I love it. I have one. I have the Master Edition as well. With someone who joined Star Citizen a long time ago but hasn't really played yet, how would you advise start earning money? Do what you want to do in game. So bounty hunts are quick and easy. If you want to do ship-based combat stuff, awesome. If you want to do more FPS stuff, then the defense missions are bunkers, but you can also do the missions that are the data heists and retrieval consignment missions. If you want to stay away from combat, then you can do box missions, just cargo deliveries. But there's tons of stuff. I mean, I'm not sure how much money you can make now, but you used to be able to take salvage missions and just loot stuff from the ships during salvage missions and make tons of money. It sort of depends on what you want to do and what you want to do in game. But I just do what you want to do in game. I can't do Chris Roberts' voice specifically. I mean, he's mostly British, right? Have you tried landing the Sulen in a side entry hangar? It's rather difficult. I mean, I had problems landing on the floor, so I can imagine. Is the shipbuilding team the same team that will be updating the old legacy ships? There's multiple, effectively now, there's multiple ship teams working on multiple ships. And a lot of the people that are working on points of interest and interiors and stations and stuff can also work on ships. And they keep on moving team members around and stuff. So there are lots of people working on that sort of stuff. Will 32 SU boxes ever snap to the Cat's cargo deck? It should do, yeah. Assuming there's appropriate room for that. Any hope / rumours of a 400i variant? I've not heard any personally, but it's possible. You mentioned a bigger raft ship. Is that confirmed? So there are going to be larger cargo ships for sure. There's going to be more. What are you talking about specifically when I talked about a larger raft ship? I've got to be careful when I say about certain things. Are there any updates coming to the racing system? Expect some Arena Commander race updates and some new racing ships, and they're going to keep on refining and updating the sort of flight model and the ship mass and vehicle mass as well. So there will be some more, and there will be more updates to it. Origins today, yes, that's correct. Are there any updates coming to the racing system? That's what I literally just talked about. What happened to Whitley's Guide? You'll see it occasionally. It's got. I mean, they like to do a lot of galactic gear and stuff, but Whitley's is still a thing that happens. Will there be a price hike for the Galaxy? I don't believe there was a planned price hike for the Galaxy. Yeah, I think between 450 and 600 for that new RSI miner. My gut feels. Ranger RC went. Don't know. Almost certainly next year though. Someone who joined Star Citizen a long time ago but hasn't really played yet. Oh, how would you advise to start? Oh, that's literally talked about earlier. Been a while since I played, but are there cargo missions in the game yet? So there are box delivery missions, and obviously you can make money from just buying and selling and moving cargo. There will be, in the not too distant future, specific cargo hauling missions for lots of different things at a much larger scale. With Squadron 42 in polish, release potentially end of next year, and the full focus on finish. I'm a bit confused. What's that question? So Squadron 42 is in its feature complete now. So they're polishing it. They're improving bits where they can along the way as well. So they may do other little updates. They'll be trying to get all the core systems finalized for that. They'll then be doing balance passes, tweaks and polishing to that. Yeah, very possible Squadron 42 release at some point during 2024. The hope is, that's what I'm expecting. And the Persistent Universe will get loads and loads of updates. There's a load of teams that have moved over to the Persistent Universe from Squadron now, and a load of those Squadron 42 features are going to be not just being drip-fed in, but coming in a more rapid scale. Open at OPTU preview channel this year. So expect to see another Pyro playground later this year, and the replication layer being tested later this year again. The Pyro being tested again, and the replication layer being tested. It's Origin Day today. What else? Thoughts on the Genesis Starliner modularity and possible size increase worth picking up on CC now? It's difficult to see where the Starliner is going. I think it's going to be a while before it's in game, but I do love it. I do think it's going to have some modularity to it because it's supposed to be like suitable for having be a home for racing ships and stuff like that as well, but also that people carrier. I think it's cool, but it's hard to tell, right? A lot of this stuff, if you're umming about buying it, don't buy it and get it in game. Would be my suggestion for a lot of it. But do what makes you happy. Landing camera thoughts. Yes, I believe they're going to be implementing a low res landing camera stuff thing again in the future. Why does your head not look like an egg anymore? I've lost weight. It does at the right angle, but it's more of a potato from the side still, so you're good. Yeah, I'm less tapered at the moment. Mercury Star Runner or C1 Spirit. Mercury Star Runner is my favourite ship, so always Mercury Star Runner, but I do love the Spirit. I bought an Avenger back in 2013. Now it's an Avenger Stalker, apparently. Yes. I haven't played for ages. Is the Avenger still a relevant ship for bounty hunting as it was intended back then? So the Stalker, yes. The Stalker, very much so. Great multi-role ship. Relatively powerful. And has those 6 cryopods in the back. But bounty hunting gameplay isn't in properly yet. There's bounty hunting missions and stuff, but they're sort of kill ones. Mercury Star on a hype, indeed. Congrats on the weight loss. Yes, thank you, appreciated. I'm sort of working out loads. I say loads. I'm exercising a good amount and being sensible and good with my diet and drinking lots of water and stuff. Do you know if there will be updates to planetary surfaces? Yes. As in having scattered rocks and stuff. Yeah, 100%. So they're doing a few things to make ground vehicles more easy to drive on a lot of different planets and biomes and types. I know that for a fact. And they're sort of tweaking the physics and the ground clearance and stuff like that. So they're easier to drive. They are also going to have roads and things like that as well. But you will be able to drive much more off-road on a lot of planets. Some are going to be unsuitable, really, for that. But when will we get a single-player mining ship other than the Prospector, or a better 2-person mining ship? I do think they're going to be expanding the mining ship range and potentially have some like mining starters and stuff as well, other than the Prospector. We know for certain the Apollo is in white box, but I'd like more specifics on how long it's going to take for something to go from white box to grey box. It depends on a load of things is the problem. We might see some updates to that with this week's Inside Star Citizen. That's what I'm hoping. They'll give a ship development sort of sprint report. They announced multiple new ships to be released before the end of the year. If I remember, it's about to have... No, so that was incorrect. They were talking about the amount of ships that had been or that had been and were going to be released by the end of the year. So it was sort of like 12 throughout the whole of 2023. They then showed 10 ships or 10 ship series / vehicles that were going to be done within the next 12 months. Yes, that's my body double that you just saw with the tats and everything. It's got a few less tats than me, but do you think we'll be able to get a Wookiee to co-pilot the Mercury Star in it? No, unfortunately. I think they could do a almost Wookiee Halloween outfit or something, right? Do you think we'll be able to upgrade to or buy the Apollo Medivac / Triage on RSI Day? You'll be able to buy it. Yes, it will be on sale. But it and you potentially will be able to. It might be a Daily War Bond upgrade as well. One thing with Star System that really sucks and is weird is we still don't have depressurization. They had the tech to do it. I think that they won't do it until after server meshing's in. Really, they'll want it to work with dynamic server meshing, right? Is it a thing they still want to do? I believe so. They could do it before. They don't need that. It just makes it works better with that. I suppose that's true of almost every system, right? I believe depressurization is still very much a thing. As in, not the room system, very much depressurization. But I mean, even with engineering and stuff, you can open doors to space. And I don't think that it's going to suck players out into space so much, but it might. What's your best guess for when the Vulcan will be in game? Don't know. I love the repair, rearm, and refuel nature of it, but I don't know when it's going to be in game. Thoughts on the Storm? Good design, bad design, worst design? It's certainly better than the Rock DS. I think I like it, and I think it looks cool. I mean, if you're talking about how would it perform in the real world, it's got double tracks. It's a bit too big. But if it was a real tank, but it's not a real tank, it's a game tank, and I like it for that. Jodamo, thank you very much. Very much appreciated for becoming a board member and using that join button underneath my videos and live streams. If you had anything about remote controlling landing bays, doors for like your mule and stuff, as they talked about it before, potentially having it connected to your Moby Glass or whatever, potentially being able to do stuff like that. But anything beyond that, I haven't heard, is them discussing it. How do you feel about the bike teased a few weeks ago? We don't know really what it looks like, right? It was one of the first pictures they showed it was the first one they showed out of the 10 pictures at CitizenCon for ships that were going to be in our hands, ships and vehicles going to be in our hands within the next 12 months. Couldn't really work out what it was. Do you expect CIG to release Star System before or after Behind Enemy Lines? You're basically talking about Squadron 42 Episode 2, right? I reckon Star Citizen will be in beta when Episode 2 comes out. But it's really hard to tell, right? Argarath, Spirit C1, Zeus which one do you prefer? If we're doing pure cargo, probably the Zeus CL. The clipper for that. It's annoying because I like the Spirit C1 for being multi-role. I like the Argo Raft for a particular type of cargo use, moving those 32 SU boxes. Maybe the Argo Raft, actually. Do you think there'll be a dedicated party finder other than chat, a way to find people on mission runs? I think so. I think that's almost essential, right? Also, a Crusader capital ship. I'd love to see one. Do you think the Storm release hints at Rangers getting any closer? I mean, it's always getting closer. Always getting closer, right? I think we'll see in the next year. Hacking when? They've been building a hacking minigame for a while. I think we'll see it introduced over the next year. Will the Polaris be on sale on the last day of the expo? And is it limited? I do not believe the Polaris is a limited sale ship. You will be able to get it on the appropriate manufacturer day as well. Right. Do you know if they're still planning on letting pilots control turrets from the pilot seat in the future? So I believe some turrets will be able to be slaved. You'll be able to put AI blades in others, so they'll be semi-automated. It's going to be some. Will the Cutty Steel be for sale on Drake Day? Yes, almost every ship will be on sale. There's only ships that won't be on sale on a particular manufacture day will be things like promo ships like the Saber Raven, potentially the Scythe. Actually, the Scythe wasn't on sale. I didn't think it was on sale anyway. The Mustang Omega, things like that. The F8 probably not. Right, I am going to dash off because I want to have a quick snack, and then cover Origin Day at the IAE. Let me just wrap up here and answer any questions I see real quick. Will the auto landing feature be extended to outside the hangar or potentially at a distance from port stations? It's quite possible, right? Like, they might want you to be able to do, especially with AI blades and things, be able to do automated landings more easily. I do think they'll make landing relatively easy for people that want to just do it automated at a good range, but you'll be able to do it faster and better if you're good at doing it manually, right? Do you know why the 490 plus 14th gen CPU is not running smoothly? Because Star Citizen is not particularly optimized for any one thing. It will be in the not too distant future, hopefully, with Vulkan integration. Right. I don't think we're gonna see 600i update today or anything like that. But I do think that this week we could see it inside Star Citizen, right? But it's possible. I mean, who knows what they're gonna talk about? How do you that new RSI money ship? I'm expecting it to cost between $450 and $600, but it's hard to work out at the moment. I think it's going to be Corvette sized. I'm pretty independent. Right. Let's see who else is streaming, and I will send you over to them. Yes, very much enjoying the IAE. It's obviously the biggest one yet, and I'm liking the little dioramas and scenes with like the cargo and xenothreat sort of stuff all around. It's pretty cool. Who is around? I'm going to send you over to the Dark Claw because he's actually playing. Does some great combat and flying, and he's a beautiful bald man as well. He has even less hair than me, if you can believe it. Slash. Slash raid. Boop. Boom. Easy. Thank you so much for watching today. Thank you very much for the donations. Genuinely appreciated. And people subbing to the channel, becoming channel members. It is absolutely awesome. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great IAE. If you need to contact me for any reason, you can get me on my Discord, discord.gg/BoredGamer. Come and say hello, ask me some questions. And I hope you have a great rest of the week.